glad you're here. My name is Crispina French, and I'm your host of the Rags to Riches podcast. I'm an OG textile alchemist, worked my way through art school making ragamuffins from thrift store sweaters way back in the 1980s. That college side hustle grew into a full-fledged business, and here I am to show you that you can do that too. Together, we'll navigate hurdles, challenges, and accomplishments while crafting your profitable textile upcycling business to serve you and the planet. My guests and I will cover topics including material sourcing, business savvy, product development, sales and marketing, and self-care. Overcoming struggles, celebrating wins, and reaping rewards of running your very own textile upcycling business is what we are all about. Are you ready to be inspired, energized, and supported? This is the Rags to Riches Textile Upcycling Podcast. This week's episode is brought to you by Rags to Riches Textile Upcycling Summit, a free 3-day virtual event, May 17th through 19th, 2023. It's designed specifically for textile upcycling entrepreneurs. If you are ready to hit your income, impact, and lifestyle goals, you are not going to want to miss Rags to Riches Summit. Whether your enterprise is brand new or you are a veteran textile upcycling entrepreneur, Rags to Riches Summit, showcasing over 30 industry professionals from across the world, will inspire and ignite business growth to serve you and the planet. Register at ragstoriches.eco. Hey, you're here with another episode of Rags to Riches podcast, and I'm really glad to be here today with somebody who we've kind of been on each other's peripheries for, I think it's been like over 20 years. Jo Packham is with me today, and she is developing this amazing business that is it's actually revolutionizing the way we can get the word out about our handmade businesses. Her business is called MadeTV. You can find it at MadeTVnetwork.com. Welcome, Jo. I'm so glad to have this time to chat with you.
Oh, Crispina, it's so nice of you to invite me. It's such an honor. And I have not been part of your group ever. So this is a new beginning for me. But I have been a recycler since the day I was born. My mother taught me how to do that. And that was just part of her upbringing. So I'm not a newbie at the overall concept of it, just into your group.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be, it's so lovely to just have made this connection with you and to have the history. Like, if anybody's been listening to the podcast for a while, my dear friend, Jill Schwartz, was a guest with me a few weeks ago, and highly recommend that episode if you haven't heard it already. And Jill is kind of like the conduit between my guest today, Jo Packham, and myself, in that Jo's history. Well, we'll talk all about it. So cool that you have kind of like this ethos awareness of the textile upcycling that is now kind of burgeoning, right? Like, we're seeing a lot of that out in the world. Talk a little bit about what you do with MadeTV and like how that all came into play.
It's just one of those crazy stories, like you and I meeting where you're in the right place at the right time and somebody introduces you to somebody else. So I have been in print for 46 years, and I was printing magazines, the Where Women Create and What Women Create magazines. And Lori Siebert, who is a good friend of mine for 100 years, went to work with Monica Michelle at Bloom TV. And she called me up one day and she said, Jo, you need to know Monica. So I called her right up and went on to see what Bloom TV was and everything. I love print, and I have never been the least bit interested in video, but I think the time has come where I either needed to, take a deep breath and jump in with both feet or just retire. I had a choice. So I said to Monica, let's work together, and I will take one of your women creatives, artists off of Bloom TV. We'll do a feature on her in the magazine, put a QR code in there so that people can go to Bloom TV and see, my people can go to Bloom TV and see the video. And so we did. And we did it for 3 issues of the magazine. And I mean, I think it was successful. We have, we're still the numbers. We were waiting for a little bit longer test run, but then I have owned the magazines for 17 years, and I was getting ready to retire, and I was working with a publisher out of Boston. And so I thought at the end of 2022, I will sell him the company. I'll work for 3 years. I'll train somebody for a year, and I'll consult for a year, and then I can retire. And so, but after owning your own company for 46 years, working with someone else isn't always the best of ideas that we have.
It's so hard, isn't it? Oh my gosh, I've been there myself. It's never what you think it's going to be, no matter what.
No, they changed completely. And the Where Women Create magazines were of the best quality. We were $18 magazines, beautiful, yeah. Right? And when Matador Publishing took over, Jeff just said, you know what? For us, now that we own it, good is more than enough. And so we're going to print on less expensive paper. We're not going to spend as much money, all those kinds of things. And we talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. And I resigned 3 months later as the editor-in-chief. And so I had a little bit of a nervous breakdown.
But then this door opened, right? Like, oh my gosh, right? You never would have had this opportunity.
That's exactly the universe talking to us. I went to France and traveled around for a couple of months to try to glue myself back together. And I came home and Monica called and said, can we talk? And I said yes. And she said, Bloom TV has exploded and is doing so well. And I would like to partner with you. And I would like us to start a sister station that has to do with makers and artists. Are you in? And I said, yeah, I think I'm in, right? As long as I don't have to do anything technical. I mean, oh my hell, I am just and I can't do it. I just can't do it. I am actually one of those people who has way too much electricity in their body. Like I can't wear a watch or anything. Oh. And so it has a huge effect for no reason whatsoever on what's going on with anything electronic. And I even had to go have the test run because everybody thought I made that up. Right. So
my dad had that same thing. He could not wear a watch. They wouldn't work. It's very interesting. Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
It's weird, so it's legit. I'm not making it up. But so my Monica said, let's start. And we started like 3 months ago. I mean, we just shook hands and started. And I started contacting everybody that I knew from the magazines after all these years. And we just started building the content. We named it MadeTV. We didn't even have a name when we started talking, right? Yeah. And it is exploding. I mean, I think everybody was just so ready for what we have to offer.
Well, when I learned about what you're doing with MadeTV, it's such a cool concept for makers to have this platform to really get their product, their business, their ideas, their teaching in a place where people can access it without the algorithms, without the advertising. It's sort of, it's kind of funny. I was joking with my husband because I'm really excited about being a presenter with MadeTV. And I have actually never owned a television in all of my life. Like I have never lived in a house with a television. And it's like, I feel a little bit like a freak. It's sort of something I don't necessarily want to admit to most people right off the bat. But like, honestly, I never knew how to use a VCR, and thankfully nobody uses those anymore. So I don't have to like pretend that I know how to do that. So here I am, I'm going to have this amazing TV show. I'm super excited about it. But for the listeners that are out there, can you explain how do you describe what is MadeTV and how does that work?
Okay, so MadeTV is a platform. We're kind of the sweet spot, if you can imagine, between Instagram and YouTube together, and then like Hulu or Discovery or the TV channels. Okay, so all of us want to promote our brand. when I started in this industry 46 years ago, I bet 5% of the women sold what they made. They just created because they love to create. And I bet now it's the opposite. I bet 5% don't sell, and the rest are trying to make some kind of a full-time living or add to the income of the family or whatever it is, right? And so with Bloom TV, when Monica started Bloom TV, her vision was to get everybody to create videos. They could choose which were done really well, who looked good on camera, and then they would do pilots, and then they would sell them to PBS and Hulu and all these places. When she asked me if I would do the same thing, I said, I will do that, but this community, if I'm going to be involved, we need to build a community. We need a place where we can go, where we feel safe, where we can help each other and work together and do things together and do things by ourselves, and no algorithms, no ads, no any of those kinds of things. So there's 3 levels then. So if you don't want to be a presenter, or we call them creatives on MadeTV, then you can just buy a membership. And you can go on just like you turn your TV on. You can go on all the time, watch the videos, all the stories, all of that. The second one is you're actually a presenter or a creator on MadeTV. And we have categories that you fit into. To start with, we'll probably put all of you in fiber arts. But then as we fill up, then we'll break it out into upcycling and recycling and things like that. And so you can teach classes with my magazines. Our magazines were the best-selling magazines on newsstands from the first issue to the last. We were actually the highest sell-through magazine at Whole Foods, which is crazy because it's not our audience, right? And then we were number 1 at Barnes & Noble in our category for years and years and years. And so what I know from the magazines is that everybody wants to learn something, but you can learn things all over the place, right? There are classes everywhere. What they want to do is hear your story. They want to hear all about you and how you got here and the problems you have while you're here and your successes and your, all those kinds of things. And then they want to see your studio. Everybody's fascinated by other artists' studios. And so with MadeTV, we're going to incorporate that. So in the beginning, you have to, if you're a creative, the first video has to be your story or part of it. I mean, for me, I would have to do 10 videos because one video of my story would be like a marathon, right? And so I can break it up, and then I'm going to do a tour of my studio and do several videos on that. And then my the third video can be what appeals to you. So like you can teach classes on that. You can talk about business. You can interview other artists. You can do whatever it is that is your passion. And it's unless you get a TV show on MadeTV, there is no way for those of you, the members or the creators, to make money. So you have to look at us like the biggest, most aggressive, nicest PR firm that you've ever met. We're here to introduce you to each other, to introduce you to new audiences, to introduce you to a world that didn't know anything about us, so that we can help you build your brands, sell your products or your wares, your fashions in the upcycling industry, all of those kinds of things, so that it's a place where everybody can go. And we'll have categories so that you can go to quilting and then you can see everybody, or I can put in your name and you have like a homepage so that we can see all the things you're doing. And if you're working with, Lori Siebert, because you're going to make upcycled clothing out of sheets, and then she's going to paint on them, and then together you're going to sell them, then you're everywhere on MadeTV, right?
So cool. So it's like a platform that had like the bottom line is that you are offering this. It's like a place where people can find you and learn more about you than they're going to find on on Instagram in the like little clip that goes by. It's a deep dive into your creatives that they are able to kind of guide and share what they want to share about their creative practices, MadeTV is going to cover all different kinds of categories. And of course, the people who are listening to Rags to Riches podcast are generally probably going to be our textile oriented fiber artists, but potters, jewelers, I'm imagining, are also going to be featured. Is that correct?
Oh, 100%. I wrote down the categories and there are 102 categories. And every category has a subcategory. So my major fear is that the MadeTV will become so large it's too hard to navigate, right? So we have to keep it simple so you can find everybody. But what we know is that the ceramicists are incorporating fabric into their ceramics. We all are working together more than we ever have. And so that's what we want to do is we want to introduce the textile people to the ceramics people, to the painters, to the everybody, so that they can broaden their base and all of those people can introduce them to their buyers and all of their people. And we will all just grow exponentially because then the ceramics people will be introduced to the textile people. You can buy from each other. You can help each other. You can teach with each other. It's endless. And the nice thing about MadeTV, in the magazine world, you're very, very limited. We were quarterly, so we had 4 issues a year, 160 pages. We could feature 12 women in an issue, 48 women a year. That was it. On MadeTV, we have no limits. So we can put up as many people as want to submit videos that want to be part of the community.
That is so, so cool. Hey, if you're just tuning in with me today, I am talking with Jo Packham from MadeTVnetwork.com. This is amazing. I am so excited about all the possibilities. We are going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and learn more about what MadeTV can do for textile upcyclers who are creating businesses. We'll be right back. Today's episode of Rags to Riches Textile Upcycling Podcast is brought to you by Sideshow Clothing on Etsy and in person in Craryville, New York. Are you a burgeoning fashion icon who delights in your individual style? Maybe you have a penchant for really good clothing, a love of creative presentation, and respect for our life-giving planet. Or if you are like me, you like to wear well-made clothing to handle your daily grind and stand up to the test of time. Sideshow Clothing has what you need. Vintage workwear, boots galore, jackets, dresses, ethnic and Western wear, the works. Mary curates this creamy collection of inventory, some dating back over 100 years, but mostly fashions from the 1970s through the 1990s. If you want to honor the quality of well-made clothing and stand out in the crowd, check out sideshowclothing.com, where you will find an anecdote to fast fashion and so much more. Hey, so we're back with Jo Packham from MadeTVnetwork.com, and we were just talking about the plans in place for this. Honestly, Jo, I start to think about the possibilities. Maybe I'm selfish, but I think about how this could impact my business.
Oh, certainly.
And it makes me so excited. So one of the things that I just want to share with our listeners is that, when we first started talking about partnering in MadeTV is actually sponsoring the Rags to Riches Summit. That is, if you're listening to this in the future, we are recording this session in May 2023, and we are just about ready to launch into our second annual Rags to Riches Summit. We are planning to have a Rags to Riches Summit on an annual basis. So not to worry if this is way in the future and you've missed the second annual one, please just go on the show notes page to learn about what might be coming up for something for you. But the Bloom TV is something that Monica Michelle launched. Was it 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
just about 2 years ago. So, when I went there to learn more about your plans for MadeTV, and it's a place where you can learn anything about flowers. So Bloom TV, how to grow flowers, how to arrange flowers, how to dry flowers, how to make medicinal serums and tinctures with flowers, every single thing you could edible flowers, how to cook with it's just this amazing, beautiful, full of eye candy, right, platform where you can have all of this knowledge that is out there, and it's presented by people who are, experts in whatever aspect of the flower industry they're presenting on. So, Bloom TV has been, like Joe shared, just exploded. People are sharing their knowledge. People are learning tons of valuable content there. And MadeTV is due to launch this summer. So what's your schedule like for that? Like how's that unfolding for you guys?
Well, through experience, we've learned not to announce a specific date until
you and I, we're both the same like that. Don't tell me a date and don't tell me a time. You can give me a month or a year, right?
It will definitely be in the summer. We're just building the problem is there's two issues that we're trying to overcome. One is we are exploding ourselves. I mean, we made projections of how many videos we'd have, how many people would start, that whole thing. Well, that was ridiculous. And then because we're a little bit different, they're manipulating the back end a bit so that it's a bit different than Bloom TV. So we can't move it over exactly. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, but it will be this summer for sure. Early summer we're shooting for. And it'll be one thing I'd like, when we were talking before, all the things we can do for you, the artists, you being the artists and the makers, is that we also have the capability to make more of your dreams come true than just a TV show or teaching classes. Because with my history in publishing, I've published over 1,000 titles in my career, and all the magazines. We know all the magazine people. We know all the publishers. If you want to write a book, if you want to be featured, we can help you do that. We can't, of course, guarantee it because that's on you, right? But we can introduce you and get you in the door and talk about you. And then on MadeTV, for example, we're going to work with all the publishers. If you just wrote a book, you can go on MadeTV and review your book. So you can tell everybody about it, so they'll buy it, all those kinds of things. We're going to have a QVC kind of channel that we're thinking about calling Made for You. And you can sell your products in a beautiful studio, and we'll help you take care of all of that and ship them. And what we want too from all of you is all of your ideas. I mean, we're pretty good and we're pretty creative, but there's no way that we can think of everything. So we want you to give us your ideas so that we can incorporate continually new things and new ways to promote you all and new ways to build your brand and make you more successful and work together and, increase we have a huge community, but each one of us have individual communities. And so we just want to make everybody's community a little bit larger, a little bit more supportive, and give you what you need, the tools to do all of that.
It's so lovely, Joe. Honestly, I mean, I do a lot of coaching and I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who are, stuck somewhere. And I think if I had to wager a guess, I would imagine that at least 60% of the people I speak to need exactly what you're providing as their biggest struggle is like, how do I get myself out there? How do I want to teach online, but I don't know how to do the tech. I don't know how to do, how do I get the people who want to learn my class to see it? Like, this is what MadeTV is offering. And summer 2023 is coming right up. It's going to be so lovely to have this opportunity to really, get it on the ground floor and really get to experience the growth and share the ideas that come in and be able to really kind of feel like you have a little bit of of influence over how things are developed. I feel like that's another really nice asset of just the working together that you and I and Monica Michelle have shared already, is just like, how can we support each other? Like, that was the first question that you asked me. And I was like, poof, that's a fresh perspective. Honestly, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Like, yeah, it's lovely. So, anybody out there listening, please go to madetvnetwork.com. See what is going on there. You can, right now, they have a special offer. And again, podcasts are funny. Like, somebody could be listening to this in 2030 and be, this is like going to be a historical like archive of information. But right now in May 2023, you can go to madetvnetwork.com and you can buy a lifetime membership. And it actually is it's only $200, like, amazing. So there's no, if you take advantage of that right now, there will be no membership fee. And Joe just shared with me before we started recording that you don't only just get that, you also get a lifetime subscription to, or membership to, their Bloom TV sister network. So if you want to kind of get a good vibe for how MadeTV will kind of mirror the look of the kind of the functionality of, bloomtvnetwork.com would be a good place just to kind of see what Joe and Monica have in mind as their platform develops. Anything else you want to share about how your platform will be able to really support people in the textile upcycling arena? Is there something specific there, or?
Well, I just think it's a focus of all of us in the world today. And what we're really looking forward to with partnering with all of you is that you can teach us things we don't know. I mean, everybody knows a little bit about upcycling, right? That we should do it and all those kinds of things, but we don't know all the details and the ramifications and how we can get things. Like, I can go to the Salvation Army and buy upcycling clothes and stuff like that, but that's my only resource. I don't know anything else. And so we're hoping that all of you will come in and teach all of us, and that then we can combine forces. And what you do is twice as big as it has been. So I think it's really important that we learn how to not only work together, but spin off of each other so that we're all better, because now we know more. It's interesting. It's like with the videos, when you say, not everybody, it's probably split 50-50. Some people have been doing videos because of Instagram and YouTube and all those kinds of things. And some people are terrified. So I tell them to put together just a 5-minute video. We've got an instruction sheet. Everybody's willing to help you. They put together their first video. They're really proud. I review every single video because I want to make sure that the quality of everyone's video is equal. Good lighting, good sound, good camera angles, and then the rest is you be you. However you want to do it so that it's authentic to you. But what's happening is and you submit one video first so that I can see it. We can talk about the problems, what's good, and then you do the next 3. And I don't know exactly, but my guess is in 85% of the cases, they do the first one, then they do 2 and 3, then they go back and do 1 again. Because now after doing 2 and 3, they've got it, right? They know exactly what they're doing and they're really comfortable. And so they want to do 1 again because that was just kind of their starting point. And creative people are problem solvers. I mean, and they know how to do that. And what's interesting is, like, we have 300 creatives who are making 3 videos apiece, and there are none that are the same. It's just, they all want to see each other's. And I'm like, nope. That's not going to happen because I want you all to be you, not somebody else that you admire. It's going to change when it's actually all posted. There will be more that, are inspired by somebody and adapt their videos to somebody else's. But right now in the beginning, nobody's seen anybody's. So it's really interesting.
I love that. And I love, it's interesting when I teach, just an analogy, like, I teach a course called Potholder Rugs, and we make rugs. And it's like, everybody's got their loom. And this was, back before COVID, when people were learning in person. I'd oftentimes have 30 people in a room, and we'd have our materials, we'd have our looms, we'd, instructor show you the same thing. And every single one of those rugs was different. And I've never seen two people, even if they come to the same class with the same materials, their rugs look different. So it's just another kind of rendition of that creativity and that self-expression that is, not only are you offering this platform, but you're offering a new way for creative people to express themselves and share. I like to call them our sacred gifts, right? Like, I really feel like everybody's on the planet for a reason. And, if people don't know what your sacred gifts are, they're not really doing you a whole lot of good. But if you're able to share those in, a setting that's comfortable, where you have like your own personal coach, you got Joe helping you, like, oh, let's try, talking more about this part of your history, or, how about if you stand in front of this other thing instead of that busy background or whatever it might be. So it's really an opportunity to have this exponential learning experience while also promoting your business, right?
Right. Because I want us all to be able to support ourselves in what we love to do. And creative people are not the best business people. We all know that.
Yes.
Simply because the main reason is they don't value their time.
Yes.
They just
so
think,
true.
Oh, if they want a special plaid fabric for something that they're working on to recycle, they will spend 3 days looking for the perfect plaid fabric, right? And I'm like, you guys can't do that.
Yeah, it's so true. Or like, oh, I love thrift shopping, so it's not really work. I'm like, well, it actually is part of what you're doing for your job. So let's call it work, even though it's fun.
So we're going to help them do that so that you really can be successful and raise your family. Because I've been single almost my whole life, my adult life. I have 2 children, but I've been single most of the time. And I had to find a way to make a living at all of this and actually pay my bills. So
same. Yeah. My son is, I was a single mom for 13 years. And like, I know people often ask me, like, how long were you in business before you took your first paycheck? And I was like, 10 minutes. Like, I don't know. That's why I started my business, so I could make myself a paycheck, like, and yeah. Yeah. And, it's interesting how you were talking about how, where creative people are problem solvers. And, I somebody used the word solutionary with me a few months ago, and it really resonated, because I feel like, one of the things that I think is such a valuable skill to have in any business, but most especially in a creative business, is problem solving, right? Because we're always going to come up against problems. And as long as you know that there's, hundreds of ways to solve any one problem, you're going to find the way to solve that problem that's most efficient, that serves you best. And I feel like, having a community of creative people who are all doing that for themselves and creating, valuable content for people to learn from, and also while serving themselves and while contributing to their bottom line. It's just this beautiful, it's like a gift you guys are creating for people. I just so appreciate your work.
Well, for all of you, but for all of us too. It's very selfish. I want a community like this. I want you all at my fingertips. I want to learn from everybody. I don't want to be, artists are alone. I mean, there's studios and stuff. You spend a lot of time by yourself. And I don't want people to feel alone. I want them to be alone when they're inspired and stuff, but I want them to feel like they can reach out to any number of people and say, I need help. I just want a friend. Let's go to lunch. I have friends who get together every Friday night and drink wine over Zoom, creative.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of a thing. It's, my daughter always says, my mom's never as happy as when she's with her people. And so that's what I want to create for all of us.
Oh, that's so lovely, Joe. Thank you so much. And thank you for the work that you've done, for all the years of your experience that you're just so generous in sharing, and for creating this beautiful tool that I'm so excited to be a part of. And we are going to provide links and more information about MadeTV, how you can get involved, on our show notes page. And I just encourage anyone listening to just take a moment and really just learn about this opportunity, because it's just gorgeous. And thank you so much, Joe, for sharing.
Gosh, thank you. It's an honor for us to be part of what you all do. And we're going to jump in with both feet and help in any way we can.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, so I'm over here and I'm serving you a giant air hug because you just finished another episode of the Rags to Riches Textile Upcycling Podcast. Thank you for being with me. Our music is provided by The Lucky Five. Learn more about them at thelucky5.com. Our show is produced and edited by Van Valhyasen. If you want to dive in deep, head over to ragstoriches.eco.